What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another live broadcast from Ask Your Computer Guy. So, today, hope everybody's having a great Sunday. I am just loving it. The weather is perfect. It's been a crazy week, and I'm so excited to actually be on here and talk to you guys today. So, what I want to talk about today is basically best practices. In other words, if you're not sure what you should and shouldn't be doing, or best ways to keep your computer optimized or running efficiently, or for the long term, that's kind of what I want to cover today. So, I made a list of things I'd like to go over, everything from software to hardware and kind of in between. So, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's just get into it. But if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat. If you put a Q in front of it, I'll be able to spot it super fast for you and I'll be able to answer those questions. So, the first thing I want to talk about is defragmenting your hard drive. A lot of people have no idea what this is, and it is basically a way to keep your files on your hard drive inside your computer where all your files are stored. It helps keep them organized. And what you can do is use a program. There's tons of free programs out there. One program in particular I like to use is called Defragler. Now, you can get it at defragler.com. And what happens is when you install it, actually, let me pull it up here and I'll show you. Actually, really cool. Let me pull this up here. Okay. Okay. Share the screen. Okay. Okay, so here's the program. And like I said, you can get it at defragler.com, DEFRAGGLER. Totally free, 100% free. This program, though, is pretty cool because what happens is as you use your computer every day, you download files, you go to the internet, every image you see on the internet, every file you open, everything gets stored on your computer. And what happens is Windows doesn't store them in order, it stores them in the first available space that's available on the drive. And what happens is your drive eventually starts looking like the service desk at Walmart 3 days before Christmas. So this program, what it does is it actually goes through your hard drive and figures out what is disorganized and then takes all those files and reorganizes them in such a way that it makes your computer faster. And the analogy that I like to give to people regarding defragglers, think of it this way. So if you go into Walmart and you're looking for 3 cans of beans, okay, you know there's 3 cans left in that entire store. But when you go to the bean aisle, there's maybe 1 can. So now you know you have to go all through the store and find the other 2 cans. Well, in this case, when you have a fragmented hard drive, those beans could be anywhere. Okay. And what a defragmentation does is it basically does what overnight stalkers do, and they go find all the stuff that's just been laid on the shelf and they go put it back to where it's supposed to be. And that's a defragmented hard drive. Now, the reason that's important is, say, for example, you want to open a picture from a family vacation. Okay. That to you, that picture is one file, but actually, that picture is made up of thousands, sometimes millions of tiny little bits and bytes. Okay. And what happens is that one picture, your Windows has to go and collect all those bits and bytes, put them all together into one file, and then display them on your browser. Well, just like the can of beans, if it has to search your entire hard drive to find all those bits and bytes, it's going to take a lot longer. So what Defragler does is it goes through your drive and it finds all the bits and bytes and organizes them, puts them all together. So when you click on a file, it actually doesn't take as long to find all those little bits and bytes. And the next thing you know, boom, your picture opens and all of a sudden, hey, look, my computer's faster. But it's really not. The files that it's needing to open are just collected in a closer proximity. And so Windows can access them through your hard drive much faster, put them together and display it. So it gives you the appearance that it's faster. And a lot of times when people have older computers, this is something they really have to deal with because they've used it for years and years and years and maybe never even thought about defragmenting their drive. But this is something you can do right now for free in the next few minutes and see a dramatic increase in the speed of your hard drive. So in this case, you can see here, let me make this full screen here. So you can see here, I've got multiple drives in here, but this drive right here, my D drive, if you look over here, I did the analyzation on it. It's 26% fragmented, which you can tell by all the reds and blues here is just all scattered all over the place. And that's because I write files back and forth and delete stuff, and it's pretty common. And I don't defrag as much as I should. But this program, when it's done, will defragment down to as close to 0 as possible. So when I open a file off of this drive, it will open a lot faster. Okay. One of the other cool things about this amazing free program is you can schedule a disk defragmentation. So really you install it once, schedule it, turn it loose, and it will just work forever without you having to do anything. So you can do that by going and clicking on settings and click on schedule. And then what happens is you can choose your drive. In this case, say I wanted to choose my D drive. I can select that. I can schedule that for once daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, and then set the time and the date when I want to start. I can even tell it to shut down my computer when it's done, and then click OK. And then what happens is, and I'll show you here, like once I start defragmenting, okay, it will go through and it starts the analysis, builds the file list, and then starts compiling everything so it knows where to put everything. So this is a really cool program that you can use to help defragment and declutter your computer. And I'm going to tell you what, just defragmenting a hard drive alone can make a huge, huge difference. So one of the other things that I want to talk to you about is your startup settings. Now, a lot of people don't even realize that your startup settings can actually make a huge difference in how fast your computer runs. And let me show you here on the screen. So what you would do is you would right click on your taskbar and go to properties. And then when the properties window comes up, and this is Windows 10, it's a little different in Windows 11, but you just have to get to your task manager. When that task manager comes up, you click on the startup tab right here. And as you can see here, I've got lots of applications running, but it's only the applications that I want to run every single time that I run the computer. Okay. And so what happens is when you disable, click the wrong one there. Okay. So when you disable all this stuff, what happens is your computer boots up, but it doesn't automatically run them, which means your computer is faster because it's not running as many applications. So all you have to do is just select any application on here, right click on it and disable it. Okay. Now it doesn't delete the program. So you're not going to accidentally delete something. All this does is turn on and off Windows booting up these particular programs, Microsoft Office, Open Office, Skype, OneDrive, all these things that run automatically when you install them. They don't even ask you, but this is how you can turn them off. And what happens then, again, these are all little things you can do to increase performance. So then after you run this and disable all the things that are not necessary, iTunes, Adobe, all that stuff that you don't run every single time, then when you restart the computer, instead of running 30 programs before you can use it, now it may only need to run 8 or 9 or 10. And so now your computer appears faster. So that's how you can do that. Once you go through this list and you disable whatever you want, you can just restart and see the results immediately. And if you're not 100% sure, disable it anyway. If something doesn't work, go back in and re-enable it. You're not going to hurt anything by doing this. So that is one super cool feature that I love and I do on every single computer. Hey, Pike, how you doing, man? Love the new background. Hey, listen, I actually thought to mention it earlier, but yeah, so thank you so much. This is kind of like my birthday / Christmas present to myself. You know, I finally decided it was time to move out of the bedroom and move into a dedicated office. So thanks so much for that one. I appreciate it. So the other thing that I want to talk about is browser extensions. Okay. Now this is something that I see a lot of, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't even realize that they have them. So what happens is like if you, especially like coupon programs or, you know, Amazon plugins or things like that, all these plugins run every single time your browser runs, just like the startup items run every time your computer runs. Well, what happens is if your browser has to process all these plugins, then it's not going to run as efficiently because it's got to do all this other stuff instead of just surfing the web like what you want. So like for this example, I use Firefox. So I would want to go to Tools, and I can click on, add-on, I can't even speak today, Tools, Add-ons, and Themes. And then you can see right here on the left, you have extensions, okay? Now, I'll show you the ones that I use, and this would kind of give you an idea of what you can and can't use, okay? So I have AdBlock, which everybody needs a good ad blocker because you don't want to get infected through somebody's third-party ad. That's totally free. You can get it at AdBlock Plus. Avast online security. So that's part of my antivirus program. So when I'm surfing the web, I want to make sure that the Avast is covering me while I surf the web. I got Capital One online shopping tool because I do a lot of shopping on online, Amazon, and other websites. This is a plugin that automatically lets me know if whatever I'm looking for is actually cheaper somewhere else, and I've used it and saved money. I've got Malwarebytes Browser Guard, which Malwarebytes, I'll get to that in a little bit. Malwarebytes is a anti-malware tool that you can get for free. Totally great. Love it. TubeBuddy I use for video production with YouTube. So that's part of that. It's an extension I installed. And Video Download Helper, things like this. These are programs that I purposefully want to run every single time I load my browser. Okay. But a lot of times what will happen is someone will get a coupon printer or a MapQuest plugin, all that stuff. And those things, especially if you're not using them every time, some of those really can slow your browser down. So if you want a faster browsing experience, definitely check those plugins and remove whichever ones you don't use every time. A lot of times people don't even realize they have plugins installed. And a lot of times when I'm fixing computers for local clients, a lot of times I'll remove those plugins and magically everything starts working because some of the plugins may be third party or malicious or, just a little wonky or maybe just not the safest. So you definitely want to check that out. So real quick, Vijaya, how to bypass card verification for free subscription. Does virtual card verification work? What specifically are you talking about? Free subscription to what exactly? Would you clarify that for me in the comments, and I'll see if I can address that for you. So one thing I get every day, literally every day, is should I upgrade to Windows 11? And I have beaten this horse to death, but it's going to keep coming because people don't have the information that they need. So I'm going to give you about a 3-minute dissertation on why you should not upgrade to Windows 11. Okay. First and foremost, but least important, I don't really care for it. I've used it. I like it, but it's just mostly cosmetic. I mean, it's basically Windows 10 with a few cool new features and some wallpaper and some other neat things like icons are different, things like that, but nothing performance wise. Okay. So if you think that your Windows 10 computer is slow, Windows 11 will just be slow. It's not going to make it faster. Matter of fact, it might make it a little slower, but the problems that you have that are making your computer slow have nothing to do with Windows. They have to do with the things that I'm talking about in today's video. So if you go through these, and you can just go through them one at a time and literally follow step by step by step, and you'll find that you can take care of a lot of these problems yourself, and all of a sudden your Windows 10 computer is running great. Boom, you don't even need Windows 11. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second part, and this is just because I've been doing this for 30 years and I've been in every operating system since the early days of DOS, Windows 3.1. I mean, I've done it all. Okay. Anytime Microsoft releases a new operating system, and I know Eric Pike's going to jump in on this one because this is his jam right here. Every time Microsoft releases a new operating system, it's pushed to production too soon. Unlike Apple products where they test and test and test and then retest and then triple test, and then they push out a product that has virtually no issues and minor updates here and there. Microsoft doesn't do that. Microsoft takes advantage of this new operating system that they've built, and they figure we'll put it out there and we'll wait for people to complain, and then we'll fix the things as we need to. So generally what happens is you have, with any new operating system, you're going to have about a year to 2, sometimes longer, before all the bugs get worked out. And minor things, no big deal. Windows updates will take care of that. But what if your system that you use is something that is an income producing machine? So for example, you have Windows 10 computers in your office. In that office, you use QuickBooks or other proprietary programs to make money. Okay. You can't afford downtime. Well, if you upgrade to Windows 11 and then all of a sudden say you have a problem with your display driver or your network driver or something like that, now you either can't see your screen, or the resolution's not good, or you can't connect to the internet, or 100 other reasons. Okay. Not to mention potential blue screens of death, which means you can't even get into Windows at all. And that is bad if you're trying to make money. So what I generally tell people, Just because it's new doesn't mean it's good. Okay. Now, Windows 11, for what I've seen, is a pretty decent operating system, but it does need some work. Okay. So if you are eligible for a Windows 11 upgrade, and a lot of Windows 10 users are, like if you go into Windows updates and it says, hey, your computer can run Windows 11, great. That's fantastic. Because when Windows 11 gets all the bugs worked out, your Windows 11 eligibility a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you will still be eligible to upgrade to Windows 11 at no cost. Okay. And by that time, Microsoft hopefully will have worked out a lot of the bugs, and then Windows 11 will be what we call stable. Okay. There's beta releases, there's developer releases, and then there's stable releases. Stable releases are, we know all of the main issues, and now it's just minor updates. But basically, it's when Microsoft releases products, they're usually right out of beta or developer mode, and then they get uploaded and are pushed out to the internet or to people like you, and everybody clicks on it and updates it, and then they have problems, and then they curse it because they went and downloaded this new thing. So as a general rule, just wait. Just wait. If you're eligible now, then you're going to be eligible when they've worked all the bugs out. Okay. Why invite problems if your computer is running great? There's not much besides cosmetics in Windows 11 that you're going to benefit from. Matter of fact, I haven't seen, other than just tweaky geek stuff, like maybe I can do this cooler in Windows Explorer than I could in Windows 10. That's great. It's a cosmetic thing. There's nothing functional that's going to be better in 11 than it is already in 10 in the stable Windows 10 that you have. So I'm not saying don't get 11. I'm saying just be patient and wait for Microsoft to figure it out, release a bunch of updates, and then a year or so you can upgrade. And you know what? By that time, you may want to go ahead and get a new computer anyway, in which case it will have a preloaded version of Windows 11. And then you're going to have less problems because it's preloaded as opposed to an upgrade. Yeah, say I knew Pike would jump in on this. He says, I'd never upgrade before 6 months, preferably a year. Yeah, for me, I'm more of a year to 2 year kind of guy, but I also like downloading it and finding out what's wrong with it right off the bat. But yeah, 6 months to a year is a safe ballpark for most people. But again, just don't get it because you can. Okay, if you're eligible now, you'll be eligible then. Microsoft's not going to take that away from you. So if your computer it can run Windows 11, it will be able to run Windows 11 when it's working properly. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay. Now, another program that I like to really use, and I really use this program a lot, and I use it on every client's machine that I touch almost every single time, is a program called CCleaner. Okay. Now, what CCleaner does, let me get this over here where you can see it. What CCleaner does is basically runs, let's see, hang on. I had it open there for a second. Well, I must have removed it for some reason. Oh well, sorry about that. But anyway, let me show you here. You can go to CCleaner.com and download the software. I thought for sure that I still had CCleaner. I'm so used to installing stuff on client machines, sometimes I forget to install them on my own. But let me just show you real quick. I'll walk you through it. You go to CCleaner.com, download the program. And one of the cool things about CCleaner is, and a lot of people, they'll go out and buy these, or they'll download these programs. By the way, you want to click free trial here. They'll download these programs that are all-in-one fix-it utilities, and those things are just, most of the time they're crap. Okay, most of the time they're crap, and the problem is if you don't know what's legitimate and what's not, you are going to end up downloading something that is probably not safe. Okay, so one of the reasons why I do this, I have this channel, because I've got 30 years of experience doing this, and I'm going to tell you what's legit and what's not. Okay. CCleaner is made by a company called Piriform, they've been in business for a long time. They make great products. Matter of fact, you may have seen a video I did one time about recovering deleted files through a program called Recover. It's also made by the same people that do CCleaner. And like I said, this program is fantastic. So one of the things that that I love about this program is that it goes through and it just fixes all the junk that you know is probably on your computer, but you have no idea how to get rid of it. Okay. So what this does is it goes through and it says, okay, just don't worry about it. I know what to get rid of. Watch this. Okay. So I'm going to go and let's see. Let's go ahead and start the trial. Now it is a free program. You can turn off the pro version. And I think there's actually a free version you can download. I'm just having the worst time with tech this morning. Okay. So there we go. So I just want to show you the features. That it's the same features in the free version. This is just the pro version, but it's a trial version, but it's the same as the free version. Okay. So there's only real two things that you want to do in CCleaner, and this can make a huge difference for you in performance on your computer. Okay. First one is custom clean. Okay. Now, if you click on this right here on the left, you'll see there's a ton of different options. Microsoft Edge, Chromium, Internet Explorer, Windows Explorer, all the system stuff, emptying the recycle bin, emptying temporary files, memory dumps, all this stuff. It's got a ton of features in here that goes through and it just removes all this junk. Now, what I generally do is I uncheck in empty recycle bin, because sometimes we put stuff in the recycle bin and we forget about it and it's important. And it's like, well, I really didn't want to delete it. So I just uncheck that because it's just clearing up empty space. You click analyze, and what it'll do is, as you can see, it goes through, excuse me, it'll go through and it'll tell you, here's what needs to be done. Here's what needs to be cleaned. Okay. Now, in this case, I'm going to say, no, don't close my browser because I'm obviously streaming through it. I'll just skip that part and all the other programs that I have up and running because we don't want to close those in the middle of the stream. So anyway, you'll get a screen like this. Let me open this up for you. You can see a little better. So you get a screen like this and it just tells you analysis complete. Okay. And it'll go through it. It'll tell you each individual thing that it's going to remove or that it can remove, cookies, temporary files, Windows Store stuff, just stuff that just collects over time. Okay. And in this case, I've got 1.2 gigabytes of stuff to remove. Now, I would normally go ahead and run the cleaner, but I need some of these things to be where they're at for the stream to work. So just trust me. But normally you would click run cleaner and just turn it loose. In a couple minutes, it's done. Okay. The next thing you want to do, and this is probably one thing that you'll know. Yes. Let's see. eCore, is CCleaner safe? Absolutely. I've used it for years. Whether you get the free version, which I would absolutely encourage you to do, or you want the real-time professional version, which scans and stuff in the background, I think it's a little overkill for most people. Tech people probably should think about that, but your average person, you can just run this for free, clean it up, see if it makes a difference. If your system is messed up enough to where this actually makes a difference for you, then yeah, consider buying the pro version. But it is 100% safe. I've used it for 100 years, and absolutely, I wouldn't be recommending it to you if it wasn't. Okay. Now, the other thing, this is probably one of my favorite features, and again, because startup items are one of the reasons, as I explained a few minutes ago, one of the startup items are one of the reasons why your computer tends to be slow when you turn it on, right? Well, every computer has what's called a registry. Every Windows machine runs off a registry. Think of the registry like a table of contents. Okay. So if you want to go to chapter 6, you look in the table of contents and chapter 6 says, oh, chapter 6 starts on page 137. Okay. Well, it's like a book. It's an instruction manual for Windows. The registry, though, over time, every time you install a program, every time you delete a program, every time you make a configuration change, every time you do anything in Windows, it writes it to the registry. And that book starts off like this when Windows is brand new and eventually gets this big after several years. Well, if you wanted to read a book, which would be faster, this or this, right? Windows reads that book when it starts up. The sooner it can read the registry and know exactly how to run, the faster your computer runs. Didn't really make your computer faster. It gave you the appearance that it's faster because it's not loading all the crap. So what this does is it goes through, and when you open, you click on registry here on the left side, you click on scan for issues. And what it does is it goes through and it looks for anything that is no longer in use, missing DLL files, which are engines for your programs. That's how your programs run, through program or DLL files. It looks for links pointing to file types that you don't have on your computer anymore. So say it says PDF is supposed to open with this program, right? But you don't use PDFs anymore. That link will still be in here, which means it's one more thing Windows has to look at in order to run. Okay. So what you do is you run through here, you click scan for issues. It's just very quick. And you can see even on mine, it found 696 missing links or invalid entries. I would just click review selected issues, click yes to back up the file, and then turn it loose. And when that's done, you're done. You can literally close CCleaner and you're back in business. And again, you won't see any of those changes until you restart the computer, because it is a startup thing. But you will definitely notice a difference when you run CCleaner, for sure. Now, one other thing that a lot of people have a problem with is duplicate files. Okay, and that is, it doesn't slow your computer down. Let me word this correctly. It doesn't slow your computer down, but if you have duplicate files on your computer and Windows has to look in a particular area that normally would be empty, but you now have files in there, then yeah, technically it could speed up your computer. Okay. Now, I'm not sponsored in any way by this. This is a program I've used before. I actually use a different version, a pro version of the software. This is a free program from a company called Logics. It's a duplicate file finder. And basically what you do is you click download now, you install it, and you say, go find the duplicates. And so what it'll do is, a lot of times we'll collect files like pictures, like, we'll have pictures on our computer, and then we plug in our phones and back up, and then it creates another folder with those pictures. And then, your spouse or a family member will put more pictures on there. Well, maybe you both have same pictures on your, from Facebook or whatever. And next thing you know, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 copies of one picture. Okay. Excuse me. What this does is it goes and it finds all those duplicates and gives you the opportunity to say, do you want to keep them or delete them? Now, obviously, if they're duplicates, you want to delete them. But it doesn't just look at the file name, and that's what makes it a truly great program. And not just this one program. Pretty much every duplicate program uses the same technology. They look at basically what their hashes. In other words, it looks at the fingerprint of a file. And this picture has the same size, the same fingerprint. Even if it's a different file name, it will say, hey, these two files are identical. What do you want to do? Well, delete one of them. Doesn't matter which one. Depends on how you got it organized as to which one you want to delete. But the fact of the matter is by finding those deleted files, you are now clearing up space on your computer, and thereby making your computer just a little bit faster. Okay. Now, like I said, there are pretty much free programs to do just about everything you could ever want to do on a computer. Okay. I live by free. I tell people all the time, I was like, look, try a free version. If it works, great. If it doesn't, okay, well, go pay for a program, for a pro program. But most programs out there will give you a free trial. Download it, try it. If it helps and you get gigabytes of files off your computer and it didn't cost you anything, why go pay for a pro version? Now, if you need advanced duplicate protection, for example, in my case, where I'm constantly moving gigabytes, sometimes terabytes of data from one drive to another, client drives backing up. It's a client I do this all the time, where I'll go see a client, I'll grab their data off their drive and back it up, right? And then 2 months later, I keep the files just to make sure that just in case they call back a week later, I'll forget about it. 2 months later, I'll get another job from that client. I'll go take their drive, and guess what? I back it up again. Well, now I've just created 2 duplicate copies, and that copy may be 25, 30 gigabytes of files. So this program, or the one that I use, this one would work as well. But those programs go through and they say, okay, on your client data drive, I see 4 copies of every one of these files. Now I can go and delete all that stuff, which gives me more free space to put more stuff on. So definitely something you can do. It will help speed up your computer. Not as dramatically as the other things. Again, Windows for the most part, and I won't go into how it knows. There's a thing called a fat table that basically says where everything is. It's too techie. I don't want to get too techie on you. But Windows knows where the files are. But sometimes it has to still stop in one folder to go to another folder, to go to another folder while it's searching for that thing. If the folders are empty, it takes less time because it didn't have to read it. And those milliseconds over and over and over again, 10,000 times an hour, 100,000, however many times an hour, it adds up. And milliseconds turn into seconds, and seconds turn into minutes, and minutes turn into really angry people. When you click on something and the thing just sits there and spins, that's kind of what happens. So, and again, I'm telling you all of these things because these are things that you can do right now. You can do them right now. Do them after the stream. As soon as you watch this, you can go download every single one of these. And I think you would be surprised at just how fast you made your own computer just by using free software out there. My job is to really let you know what is safe to use and what is not. And it's based on, again, I've done this for 30 years. So I'm not going to point you in the wrong direction. Okay. Now, another thing that happens, especially with duplicate files, is music. And everybody has music, right? But one of the things happens, same thing with duplicate files, but you also end up having files all over the place. Okay. I use a program called MediaMonkey, totally free, super cool. You can go to MediaMonkey.com, absolutely free, 100%. You can download it right now. Okay. But let me show you what it actually looks like, because you will, once you see the program, you'll be like, oh, wow, that's pretty neat, right? So what you do, okay, so I'm going to pull this up here. Let me put this on the screen for you. Okay. So, okay, let me find my music. Hang on. Okay. All right. So, gosh, I can't find it now. I had music on this drive and now I can't find it. Doesn't look really legitimate. Now, doesn't. This program is just, it's amazing. It lets you go through and it completely helps you organize everything, all your files. You can, let me see if I can find that real quick. Hang on a second. I want to show you how it works because it's a really cool program. I've used this one forever. And again, totally free. Now there is a pro version of the software. And it does give you extended features that you can use. Me personally, like with anything else, try the free version because, free is good, right? We all like free. Let me see if I can find cannot find it. I know I did not delete my music. That would be scary. Well, of course, now that I want to show you, it's not here, but there we go. Okay, now I got it. Whew, my brain was just, okay, so let me pull this up here for you. So this is an example here, like here on my flash drive. Now, you can go and create subfolders in here. You can do all this cool stuff, and it helps you keep up with your music. Like, as you can see here, I've got it'll show you like all the music, okay? There's a gazillion files on here, and then as I go through them and figure out what I want to keep and what I don't, I can move them, and I've tagged them and organized them and done all that stuff, and I go on here and I've sorted them and just need to tag them and things like that. This program is just really neat. There's a lot of online help too, but it's very user friendly. So you can go through here and you can select all anything you want on these particular files. You can go in and reorganize, put folder names and things. This really satisfies my OCD. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm really OCD. But what I would recommend, run that CCleaner, or excuse me, the duplicate finder first, because then what happens is if you have a ton of duplicate files, get rid of them first so you don't end up duplicating over and over again with your music. Once you got the duplicates out of the way, then you can go run the Media Monkey and then take all your files, put them in one place, organize them, put album art, do all that stuff, where you feel like you actually have control of your computer again. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So the next thing that I want to talk about, which is probably going to anger some people, okay? But I'm going to do it anyway. It's a program called Google Chrome. And anybody that has used Google Chrome says, well, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? But the problem with Google Chrome, it's a good browser, okay? Now again, my preference is Firefox, but Google Chrome is at its core Internet Explorer, which if you've ever talked to anybody that knows anything about Internet Explorer, they'll tell you, not good. But the core properties, they made some changes recently, but it's basically Internet Explorer. But it is safer than that. But the problem is there have been a gazillion zero-day exploits, okay? And literally, I think there's probably 20 something so far this just in the past 12 months. They literally just released, Malware they just released another patch for another zero-day exploit. And it's 3 billion people using this program that are constantly getting attacked. Now, what is the zero-day exploit? Okay. When you use your computer, your browser, if you don't click on if you don't go check and see if it needs to be updated, in this case, I just updated mine, I think 2 days ago, and it's needing another update, okay? I love Firefox because it automatically does this. Google Chrome is supposed to do it, but it doesn't. So what happens is I've got the older version of Google Chrome, okay? A zero-day exploit is a major virus discovery that hasn't been patched yet, that hasn't been discovered, and antivirus programs haven't pushed out updates for it. In other words, you're most vulnerable to a bug on day zero, just like patient zero, okay? Once all the programs and the antivirus programs and things like that get used to it or know about it, then they release updates. But on 0 day, when it's first released, is when the vast majority of people get infected. And so what happens is if you use Google Chrome, then the problem is if you haven't updated it like I just had to do, and you go to a website that may be safe, may not be safe, next thing you know, you have potentially infected your computer with a 0-day exploit. And that's going to cost you some dollars simply because now you've got an infected machine, you've got ransomware, you've got all kinds of stuff happening because you chose a browser that wasn't keeping you updated. So my recommendation, same recommendation I always make, Firefox first. Now there's other browsers, Brave and things like, we can get into all, Opera, Safari, you can do all those. The big boys, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and then Google Chrome. Okay. And I would use Google Chrome in emergencies only. Yeah. See, Eric just says another posted just yesterday, full admin access permissions, escalation exploit. Now I'm going to translate what he just said. That bug that you get basically can take ownership of your computer. And if you can take ownership of your computer, it can, guess what? Do whatever it wants to your computer, your files, your personal information, banking information, private documents, anything you have. If it has administrative privileges, it owns you, okay? Because you used Google Chrome. So I would recommend, and if you don't like Firefox, that's fine. Firefox is my preference. I just love it. It's faster, it's safer. I'd rather use Microsoft Edge. I'd rather use Safari. I'd rather use Opera or even anything other than Google Chrome until Google, and I know it's ironic because Google owns everything, and ironically, I get paid from Google for making videos on YouTube telling you don't use this Google product. But Google doesn't get paid for Google Chrome. They only get paid for ads. So use it at your discretion, okay? Now, here's a caveat to that, okay? If you are the type of person who really doesn't do if you don't go exploring the internet, okay, in other words, you do 4, 5, 6 things, you're probably okay. You know, I use Google Chrome only in situations like right now where I have my YouTube backend analytics where I can go and look and see my statistics for my videos. But I can do that in Firefox. But the extension that I run, I was telling you about extensions and plugins earlier, the extension that I run only works in Google Chrome. So when I open Google Chrome, I've got it set to open 3 websites, 3 different pages of my analytics. I can look at them all at once and I don't go anywhere else. Matter of fact, what you just saw me do was probably the most I've done surfing Google Chrome in years. I just don't use it because I'm terrified of that browser. Okay. So if you do just banking and maybe social media, whatever, you're probably okay. All right. But just be aware that that problem exists. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. And if you don't realize it, well, then, that's what I'm here to do, is to help you realize, oh gosh, there might be a problem. Okay. Now, this next thing I want to talk about is more of a personal preference, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'm going to explain why it is. It doesn't change the performance of your PC, and I'm literally dealing with a computer right here with the same exact problem because of this, okay? And what that is changing your Microsoft account, which everybody gets when they first set up their computer. Change your Microsoft account to a local account. Now, you might be saying, well, what's the difference? It's a great question, okay? I'm going to show you right here. So when you first set up Windows 10, Windows 11, what have you, okay, Microsoft used to give you the option to create a local account. And local just means you can use your computer. If you're not connected to the internet, you don't need any connectivity to Microsoft or whatever. It's your local computer, okay? If you need a password reset, it takes about 4 seconds versus 4 hours. I don't need to talk to Microsoft, so why would I need a connectivity, okay? Now, in this case, I've actually set up my account here for reasons other than that, okay, but mainly for demonstration purposes. But what you would do, all you have to do is go into your settings, your little gear icon on your taskbar, and then if you go into accounts here, if you click on, where is it? I can't even remember here. It's I set up one here for you. Yeah. There's usually an option right here. Usually says right here, change to a local account. I don't want that. Hang on. Oh yeah, Eric brought up a good point about the Chrome thing too. It's so widely used that it's the most targeted. Yeah, same as if you have AOL for email, okay? Because it's the most targeted, and obviously that's what they're going to do, okay? So you want to just remember that. And again, if you only use 4 or 5 things, it's probably not a big deal. But anyway, in your normally, this thing's trying to make me look stupid here, but normally in your mail account here, I'm not sure why. Usually it gives you the option right here to change to a local account. Maybe I'm just in the wrong place. It's been one of those weeks, where you just, nothing works right. But no, I'm not. That's not the right place. Anyway, if you go in here and you see when you log into your email and accounts, right underneath your primary account, you should see change to a local account or use a local account instead. Just know it's safe to do that, okay? And what will happen is when you do that, it disconnects you from Microsoft in such a way that if your password gets hacked on your Microsoft account, it doesn't affect your computer because it's not talking to Microsoft. It's not checking with Microsoft to make sure your password's correct, okay? Also, the more Microsoft is connected to you, the more it can push ads to you, okay? Now, if you go set up a a Windows 10 or a Windows 11 machine now, all Windows 11 machines require a Microsoft account. No big deal. You create one. As soon as you're up and running, change it from a Microsoft to a local account. Now, the exception to that is if you access the Microsoft Store frequently, or you have a Microsoft Office 365 setup, you want them to just easily communicate between that and OneDrive or whatever. In that case, it might make more sense to just leave it. And for your average user, it's not a big deal. Like I said, it doesn't affect performance in any way, shape, or form. That's more of just a personal preference for me, but it's something to look at. And you could Google all day long and everybody will have their own opinion, but that's just the way that I do it, because the less Microsoft has access to my computer, the less anybody who hacks my Microsoft account has access to my computer, the safer I am. And I generally try to stay safe. Otherwise, what's the point of me being here, right? So Ecore says, I switched to Firefox recently and I like it more than Edge and Chrome. Yeah. Look, I mean, Firefox was one of the first browsers. This is what I actually fell in love with. It was one of the first browsers that allowed you to synchronize between devices. Okay. So if you had a Firefox browser on your computer, you had a Firefox on your phone, your cell phone. In my case, I've got an iPad, Android, an iPhone, and my computer, my laptops, whatever. I could log into Firefox, create a free account, log into any of those computers, and the websites that I was just looking at home, now while I'm out on the road traveling, everything's right there. It's passwords all saved across the cloud. It's fantastic. And one of the other cool features that I like in Firefox, and I will show you this because this is actually also one of the things that really made me fall in love with it. Okay. So if you click on tools and settings, okay, and then you go to privacy and security, under here, your saved logins. Now, saved logins is no big deal. All the browsers do it now. Okay. Firefox does it. Chrome does. All the browsers will save your information so you don't have to type your passwords over and over again. Okay. But Firefox was one of the first to do this. You check this box right here, and it used to be called master password. Now it's called primary password. Okay. And you select that, you put in a separate password, one password. We're all talking about always having to remember a gazillion passwords. One password with that checkbox means the only way to see login information, saved usernames and saved passwords from secure websites is if you have that password. Okay. So in a scenario where, say, you just use your computer normally every day, you've got online banking, you save everything, blah, 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 right? But say you go out of town and you have a friend that comes over to babysit the house. And, they probably going to sit down and use your computer or whatever. Well, if that box isn't checked, they could open your browser, go into tools and settings and privacy, and see all your usernames and passwords, which is no big deal if you trust your friend. What happens if you and your friend suddenly have a falling out? They may have taken a screenshot of all your usernames and passwords. And guess what? If all your passwords are the same, then chances are it's probably the same for Facebook, Twitter, every social media. I mean, they could really do a number on you. Now, that's assuming the worst, but that's kind of what I do in my world, is I assume the worst and pray for the best, right? So always assume that something like that's going to happen. In this case, you could check that box, and if they don't have the master password, and it could be just something you and your spouse know, they can't see anything. They can open the browser all day long, but they can't see any of your saved information. So that is pretty fantastic. I use that just exclusively. Now I live by myself, so I'm not worried about it. No, my computer stays locked. I mean, I've got it pretty locked down. So I'm never terribly worried about that, but it can happen. Hold on, I'm going to test my mute button for a second. All right, if you heard me cough, please say so. So Pike says, that's another negative about Windows 11. It makes it a lot harder to make a local account. Extreme pain in business setting. Absolutely. That's what I was talking about, is Windows 10 used to give you the option. Do you want to create a local? You had to click a couple of steps. It wasn't painfully obvious, but you could say, I don't have a Microsoft account, blah, 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 and then say, I would rather just use a local account. They took that away. Microsoft says, you have to have a Microsoft account if you want to set up Windows. What they don't tell you is that you don't have to keep it. You only have to have it to set it up. So you could use a Gmail or whatever, create the account, go in and change it to a local account, and you're good to go. Okay. But, there's websites out there like me that are going to tell you that. But Microsoft is sure not going to tell you that. So, you just have to remember that it depends on your situation. Okay. Everything depends on your situation. So, now, one of the other things that I want to talk to, and I'm going to switch over here real quick to my other screen, is I want to talk to you about security. Okay. And this is also a hot button topic because a lot of people swear by their particular program. They have, I use this and this and the other. And, and the reality is it's personal preference. Okay. So what I use is a program called Avast Antivirus. This is my main desktop here. Okay. So as you can see here, I've got Avast Antivirus, and I also use Malwarebytes for malware protection. Both of these programs are 100% free. Okay. Now there's some caveats to that, and I'll get to it in just a second. I don't want to bore you, but those are free. You can go to avast.com. There's a link in the description. Click right on it. It takes you right to the free program. Malwarebytes, also a link in the description. Click on it. It'll take you right to the website you need to go to. Now, Avast you can install. It's going to always try to sell you the pro version, but it's a sales tactic. The free version is what I use. And I see probably 10,000 times more crap than you will ever see in your lifetime. And if the free version works for me, I'm pretty sure it's going to work for you. Okay. But as you can see here, it pops up with notifications, just normal daily stuff like it blocked this, it blocked this, it blocked this. That's what it's designed to do. Okay. Try that program. If you have Norton, if you have McAfee, Panda, ESET, any of those, and you're either, and certainly if you've had AVG, get rid of that. It's horrible. Try Avast. What I usually do is a client will give me a computer that has Norton or McAfee or one of these types of programs and go, oh, I don't have I just ran matter of fact, this exact computer. I ran my Norton, had no viruses. Okay. So I install Avast on it. Guess what? I run a scan. I run a boot scan. I restart the computer and Avast runs before Windows loads. And guess what? On this computer, I found a rootkit virus that Norton didn't even see. Rootkit viruses are like all four tires blowing off on the highway at the same time. Trust me, it is not good. Okay. Avast free found stuff that his Norton Pro didn't. End of story, mic drop. As far as I'm concerned, that's all you need here, right? Try it. If you don't like it, remove it. And it will run side by side with other programs. So you don't have to, if you have Norton, you can run it side by side. It's going to be fine. But I would at least do a boot scan with Avast and see if it finds anything. If it does, get rid of the other program and keep Avast. Okay. The only thing I would tell you to keep it from constantly trying to sell you stuff is this icon right here in the taskbar. If you right click on it, check silent mode. And it doesn't turn off every notification, but it eliminates 97.6% of them. I made that up, but I almost never see it pop up from Avast. If I turn that off, it'll pop up 2, 3, 4 times a day. The whole objective is to get you to buy the pro version. Okay. And the pro version includes all these other utilities and, drives, password protection, and, all these extra firewalls, ransom shield, all this stuff. You don't need all that stuff. The vast majority of people can get by with just the free version without a problem. Okay. Coffee break. Okay. So the second part of the security thing I want to talk to you about is the Malwarebytes. Okay. Now remember, the whole thing that I'm trying to show you in this video is what we in the industry call best practices. Eric says, laugh out loud. AVG is the devil. Yeah. Actually AVG, to be fair, and I hate to admit this, but AVG was actually pretty good at one time, way before Avast, back when Norton was called Symantec and McAfee, I don't even think existed. AVG was actually pretty good, and I actually used it on a lot of client machines. But when AVG 2013 came out, that's when it all changed. It slowed computers to a crawl. It started adding a bunch of crap in it. And I just immediately started looking in 2013 for a new solution for my customers because I'm slowing their computers down, putting my program on here. That's when I found Avast, and I've been using it probably close to gosh, forever now. AVG's, AVG's better than nothing. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people have a debate about Windows Defender. And actually, there's a lot of buzz around the internet right now about Windows Defender because it was Windows Defender, then it was Microsoft Defender, then it's Windows Defender Premium and the Windows Defender Update, and now it's some kind of big package deal. I don't know. I can't keep up with it all. Windows Defender, for those people who really don't use, really go exploring the internet, it's generally okay. It's certainly better than nothing. I would use it before I would use AVG, and that basically kills any chance of AVG sponsorship, but that's okay because I don't like their product. I wouldn't advertise for it anyway. So anything I tell you on these videos is going to be stuff you can see that I use on my computer on a daily basis. So if you want to know how this 11-year-old computer probably runs faster than your 2-year-old computer, that's why I made this video, because I've done this for so long. I know what's good, what's not, what's smart, what's not, and things that you won't know unless you specifically go look for it. That's the purpose of today's video. Okay. So the other part of the security solution, and again, totally free with a caveat. I'll get to that. This is Malwarebytes. Now, the reason I use Avast and Malwarebytes together is because Avast specifically targets viruses, which not as many viruses out there now. Most everything online now is malware. Okay. Malicious spyware. And those of us who are a little older know exactly what spyware is. Hey, Viagra ad or weight loss ad. You see them pop up left and right. Hey, cute girls in your zip code, things like that. That's all spyware. Then it developed into malware. Then it developed, because then it was all about making serious money. Then it became malicious malware, okay, which is meant to get money from you, not from you clicking, but from taking over your computer and forcing you to give them money, which is now called ransomware. Hold your computer hostage. Avast is great at finding viruses first, but it also is a great malware, spyware, ransomware scanner. Okay. Malwarebytes, on the other hand, primarily is a malware and ransomware scanner, but it also can detect viruses and spyware. So you run these two programs together, and these two programs in real time do the most amazing job of keeping your computer clean. I showed you on my Avast a minute ago. It's like just surfing the web, doing what I normally do. Boom, had 3 infections that were blocked because of Avast. And with Malwarebytes, same thing. It will block it. It'll immediately pop up. Matter of fact, let me show you something real quick here. There is actually it's so cool because I actually saved the page. I was clicking on something. I don't remember what it was. Probably somewhere I should have been. Look what popped up. Malwarebytes blocked it due to a Trojan. Now, if you didn't know me, you didn't know computers, that website would not have been blocked. That Trojan virus right there, I literally bookmarked this to show you how easy it is for even the computer guy to possibly get infected. I ran this, Malwarebytes blocked it, and guess what? Because I blocked it, one less infection. One less infection means one less problem. One less problem means one less collection of problems that eventually lead you to have to call a computer guy. Okay? So that being said, I highly recommend Malwarebytes. Have for years. It will never stop. It's amazing. Now, in this case, I could continue anyway if I wanted to, because sometimes legitimate websites look shady, but they're actually not. And if I trust it and I know the site, I'm going to go ahead and go through and make sure that I follow the steps and click, I know what I'm doing. Quit asking me. Okay. Now, get to the caveat. As you can see here, I'm running Malwarebytes Premium. Okay. This will tell you how long I've used this program. Malwarebytes used to be free, but the pro version was, I don't know, it was like $40, but it was a lifetime license. Okay. I've used this program so long that I bought a lifetime license. Now the program, I think, is $25-30 a year annually, maybe a little cheaper if you go multiple years, but I've got a permanent lifetime license. So every time I set up a new machine for myself, Malwarebytes Premium first before I do anything else. And that program right there, I promise you, saved me more time and headache. Now, again, I know what I'm doing, so I don't have to pay somebody to fix it. But I promise you, when I'm in the middle of something, I'm trying to prep for a video, I'm trying to do something like this, the last thing I want to deal with is a virus or malware infection. This program is hands down fantastic. Updates itself, the premium version, updates itself in real time, automatically checks for updates, does all that stuff. The free version does everything the pro version does, except run real time. So you could, like, say, if this was the free version, you could open it up, you would go here, click on check for updates, let it update to the latest version, click scan, and it will do exactly the same thing that the pro version does. No question. Because I used to, there's been times where I forgot for months that I had the free version. And then it was like, oh, I got a license for this. Does everything the pro version does except scan in real time. So if you are one of those people, and if you are, you know who you are. If you're one of those people, highly recommend spending a few bucks on that particular protection, because I promise you, what's one visit to the computer guy going to cost you, right? I mean, way more than $30. I can almost guarantee it. Okay. So just make sure that you have adequate protection. Now, you don't have to use Avast and Malwarebytes together. You don't have to do all that stuff. Okay. Just be smart. At least use one. And if they're free, and I'm telling you right now, they both run great side by side. Try them both. If you decide you like it and it starts finding stuff on your computer, then maybe consider spending the money. It's well worth it the first time it blocks something that would have totally trashed your computer. So those links are down below. Click on those. They'll take you right to the trusted website that I tell everybody to go to download and install. And again, the Malwarebytes is going to give you a 14-day free trial. So it gives you 14 days of pro access, and then the trial ends. At that point, you can continue to use the free version. You just deactivate the trial and use it for free forever. Or at that point, upgrade to the pro version. Money well spent, absolutely. Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I did actually just reference this in my last stream, but I want to touch on it again because it is so relevant to today's world. Okay. Not clicking on unfamiliar emails. Okay. Now, I'm a big proponent of Thunderbird for email. I've made several videos on my channel about it, including the last stream where I go through and I tell you exactly how to set it up, what to look for, why it's cool. You can see here, like, here's just one of my mailboxes. Okay. And you can see here all the little flames, right? That's telling you that those are potential bugs or potential spam. Okay. Now, I don't want to get into the whole spam discussion, but what I will tell you is that if you don't use a program that has good protection, you click on an email, even if it says it's from your friend, doesn't always mean it's from your friend. Okay. In the course of keeping your machine running smooth and best practices, be smart about what you click on. Okay. Very important. Simply because, I can't tell you how many times I have gone through and cleaned somebody's computer, and I find out later it's because, well, Susan sent me an email. Well, did you check with Susan first? Because it didn't look like something she would send. Well, no, I didn't want to bother her. Okay. Well, Susan can pay your bill. So the other thing that it gets people a lot is searching websites through Google or any other browser for that matter. So one thing that happens with what's the name of that? Trying to think of the okay. So like, for example, people get on Google, and a lot of my clients who are middle-aged do this, and it's because they didn't grow up in the computer generation. I get it. They get a prescription, or their doctor tells them about a specific medicine and then tells them, you can go online and find out more. Doctor doesn't tell you how to do that. He just says you can get online to look at the side effects and all this and the other. Well, the bad guys know this. And who are the most vulnerable people to take advantage of in the computer world? People who don't know any different, older generation, the people that generally need pharmaceuticals on a regular basis, right? So here's the way you shop and surf smarter. Okay. And some of this is common sense, and you'll have to kind of develop this over time, but you can't just click every link that comes up in Google just because it comes up at the top. There's 4.08 million results on this page. Okay. But that does not mean that there's 4 million quality results. Okay. So here's the way I do it. And 30 years in, I still do this. I don't click on stuff because the title of the page is enticing. The first thing I look at, the first thing I look at is the title, because obviously I want to make sure it's relevant to what I'm looking for. Like here, for example, phentermine for weight loss. Okay. After I look at the title, I look at the domain name. In this case, Mayo Clinic. Everybody's heard of the Mayo Clinic. Okay. Guarantee you that's safe. Okay. Second one, WebMD. Everybody's seen WebMD commercials. Drugs.com. Okay. These websites are websites that you have heard of. Okay. Now, like this one, Medline Plus, I'm not 100% on that, but it's got a .gov extension. Like if it was the AMA or the FTC, it's a government website because it has that .gov on it. So it's probably safe. Okay. GoodRx. Half the people watching probably have GoodRx on their phone. It's safe. Okay. You have to be smart. And of course, Wikipedia. Who doesn't know Wikipedia, right? But I wouldn't trust Wikipedia for health information because you can edit Wikipedia. Stick to the websites that are trusted, okay? So now we get into the second page, right? rxlist.com. I'm not so sure about that. I've never heard of it. Okay. Here's another one. It's a .gov, right? Probably safe. So you just go down the list. As you can see, the longer you go down the list, the more foreign the domain names are. When in doubt, okay? When in doubt, go to WebMD, go to GoodRx, go to drugs.com, go to a website, and not specifically just pharmaceutical, anything. Okay. If you're looking for anything, think of the expert in that field. And I would say WebMD, GoodRx, drugs.com, FDA.gov. These are sites that nobody would ever question the legitimacy of those. Okay. And so what happens is when you click on those, you are getting a legitimate website. If you go to a legitimate website, you are guaranteed no illegitimate crap loading on your computer. Okay, simple as that. Now, another thing I want to talk about too, because I see this on a daily basis, is people not backing up their stuff. And I've made several videos about this. There are a gazillion free programs out there. Matter of fact, I can think of one right off the top of my head that I'll show you that I have actually used for other clients. Now it's okay. It's called F Backup. Totally free. Okay. The free version is free. There is a pro version that has extra features, but if you just want a simple backup solution and you have a portable hard drive or flash drive or something like that, you can download this program, run it. You can schedule backups. You can do all of that stuff for free. Okay. Now, one of the things that I recommend, if you don't have all that, is Carbonite. Now, there is a cost with Carbonite, not gonna lie, but here's the advantages to Carbonite. Okay. One, it is real-time backup. So you make a change to a file and it's going to upload right there. Okay. So you don't have to think about it. You just change your files and it uploads. Okay. Now I did make a video about why you should change that to daily instead of immediate, because ransomware is so prevalent in this world that if you get a ransomware infection, you don't want that overwriting your good files. Okay. So I usually give it 24 hours and then update. But it just does it all in the background. It does it automatically. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do anything. It just runs. Okay. It's like $5 a month, $4, $5, $6 a month. The other advantage to it, and this actually saved my recent client several $100s. They had Carbonite installed. Matter of fact, I've got a computer over here. It's going to save them a couple $100s on this one because they have Carbonite installed. They had to get a new computer. They didn't have to pay me to back up hundreds of gigabytes of files. They have Carbonite. All we have to do is set up the new computer, go to carbonite.com, download, install it, say restore, all their files come down back from the cloud for like $5-6 a month. Okay. Now, the disadvantage to that is that you have to wait for everything to be downloaded. That's a bummer if you have a lot of stuff. Okay. There are, like I said, there are other disadvantages. One being the cost, but think of the cost versus having somebody do it for you, and then it makes sense, right? I mean, even if you bought Malwarebytes, kept Avast free, bought Carbonite, and everything else I told you about kept free, you'd still spend less pretty much annually than one computer visit for the next 3 years. So, it just, you have to spend money to keep your machine running, but you don't have to spend a lot. Okay. So I do recommend Carbonite. You can download it. You can look at your files from anywhere in the world. You could be sitting in a laptop in a cafe in Italy. Go to carbonite.com, click on your backup, look at your files, and actually open a file right there from the Carbonite interface. It is cloud-based, but it is military-grade security. There are at least 3 secure steps that every file goes through before it gets physically stored on a permanent drive, and no human eyes other than yours ever see those files. That's very important because a lot of people are concerned about privacy and who's gonna see my stuff and all that stuff. Okay, so I would highly recommend doing that. If nothing else, absolutely nothing else, it's going to keep you from having to deal with backing up your files. And if it's one less thing that you have to do, what's that worth to you? Okay. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, I highly recommend it. The link is in the description below. If you click on it, it'll take you right to the Carbonite page that you can download. You'll see my partner affiliate link there. It'll say partners, and that way you're getting a legitimate link. So check that out. And I think, if I'm not 100% sure, I think they give you a 15-day trial. So download it, check it out. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, get rid of it. Big deal. But never have to buy another flash drive. Never have to buy another portable hard drive, because those do go bad. I've got several hard drives right here that have literally gone belly up this last week. So there's money saved right there. It's out of sight, out of mind, just runs. Use that. Back up your stuff if you care about it. If you don't care about it, don't worry about it. But if you care enough about it to be scared if you lose it, then you should back it up. Okay. And that's one great way to do it. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about is that it does affect machine performance, but not like, crazy difference. You're not going to see a huge drastic change in performance, but what you will see is less stress, and organization will be on point. And I actually copied this folder from a client machine, just to kind of give you an example. A lot of people, like if you go into their pictures folder, they'll have a gazillion pictures in a billion different folders, right? And so what happens is like in this case, there's pictures in the documents folder. Okay. And in the documents, they've got a handful of files, but not a bunch. But here's some pictures right here. Well, those should be in the pictures folder. Keep them organized, right? Same with your videos or your music or whatever. There's a reason they have these folder names, because it helps keep you organized, right? So take those, and it's not always fast. I mean, sometimes it takes some time to go through and organize, but it's worth it. And I actually have she may be watching right now. I have a client that actually, she has horrible organization with her computer. It was 283 gigabytes of files in her pictures folder, in her documents folder, including documents, pictures, videos, and thousands and thousands of duplicates on top of no organization whatsoever. Okay. So what you have to do is just slowly over time create folders for specific events. Create them, like in this case, this client created them by day or by month, So that's one way you can do it. You can create it by events, Chase's football, or, Kelly's cheer, or whatever. How you organize it. And I'm actually going to probably do an in-depth, serious deep down on this, because there's several ways to do it, and what works best for one person doesn't work for everybody. I have a certain way that I organize stuff, but I know I can go here, 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 drill down, boom, there it is. So it works for me. This might drive somebody crazy. They don't know what happened June of 2020, but they know Chase's football means Chase's football pictures are going to be in there. Okay. So that's something that you can do to help keep your computer organized. And in the process, you may very well discover that you've got a ton of duplicates, which if you follow my steps earlier and you download the duplicate program, you can take care of all of that ahead of time. So now it might be a little easier for you to keep organized. Like I said, she had 283 gigabytes of files, but I think it was probably about 100 gigabytes of duplicates. So right off the bat, we just eliminated a third of her work by downloading one free program. This is why I tell you all this stuff, because these things actually do help. Okay. Now, we got past the software problems, and we're going through the security problems and the sanity problems. A few things that I want to talk to you about, just a few that will also help with making your machine run faster. Okay. Now, a lot of times you will hear people talk about whether I turn the computer off or turn it, leave it on. Okay. And I did discuss this in my streams, 2 streams ago, where I talked about, like, ask me anything. And the most common questions I get, this is one of the ones I get all the time. And it relates to computer performance, simply because if you have an older computer that takes forever to boot, okay, turning it off is going to make you want to throw that thing into the backyard, okay, because you have to turn it on and wait 15, 20 minutes to get to your desktop, okay. If your machine is older and takes longer to boot, it's better to just enable the screensaver or turn off the monitor or leave it on, because what you want is to be able to go back to it and only have to wait a short period of time before it comes back up and starts running for you. If you have to turn it off and then turn it back on every time, it's going to drive you crazy and you're going to end up throwing the thing in the street. Okay. So that's not a specific hardware issue, but it is related to performance, because if you turn off a slow machine and now it takes 20 minutes to boot Windows, that's a performance problem. But if Windows is already up and running, now instead of 20 minutes, you're only maybe waiting a few seconds between programs you open and documents, things like that. It will give you the illusion that the computer's faster. Now, will you occasionally have to restart the computer? Yeah, but do that. You can restart it and then walk away. And then the next time you need it, if it starts getting slow, you can restart it to kind of clear everything out. Next time, come back, everything's already up and running. So that will, on top of everything else, give you more perceived performance without actually having to spend any money. So that's pretty cool. Now, this is indirectly related to performance, but it is relevant, I think, worth mentioning. Okay. If you have a laptop, one thing that I usually recommend to you, if you have a laptop that sits on a desk and never leaves that desk, pull the battery out of it. If you have one of those removable batteries, okay, because leaving it in is not going to change performance or anything like that. But what it does, just like with your cell phone, is if you have the laptop plugged in and you leave it plugged in and it stays plugged in 100% of the time, it will degrade that battery. The battery inside the laptop is a lithium ion battery, just like in your cell phone or your tablet. And over time, it will degrade it. So if you sit it on a desk and it never leaves the desk, pull that battery out if you can. If you have an internal battery, try to get used to not leaving it on full power all the time, and just go use it for a few minutes here and there. Leave it, on battery for 15, 20, 30 minutes. Let it drain down a little bit, then plug it back in, just like they say to do with your cell phone or your tablet. And what that will do is that will enhance the lifetime of that battery. Now, batteries are cheap. I mean, you can go get a new one for 15, 20 bucks on Amazon. But don't do that if you don't have to. If you have a perfectly good battery sitting in a drawer, you don't spend the 15, 20 bucks. You just get the battery. Even if you leave it on your desk and you say, you know what, I actually need to be mobile today. Guess what? You pull it out of the desk, pop it in, boom. You have battery ready to rock anywhere you go, and you come back, you can plug everything back in, pull that battery out, stick it in a drawer. It's not a speed performance issue, but it is a hardware lifetime performance issue. Okay. Now, the other thing that I'm excited about is this little thing. Okay. Now I'll show you real quick. See, in our world, these things, and I know Eric Pike is going to jump in on this because he knows exactly what this is. Nico, you too. And my buddy Nico's in there. These things right here are compressed air. Okay. Now, we use these things when we have a really bad case of the dust bunnies. We get in the machine and just, okay. But these things sometimes are $6, $7, $10 a piece. Okay. If you have a computer that is in what we call the grainy desks, and everybody knows what the grainy desks are, right? They're the ones that have that nice little compartment on the end that you slide the computer in and you shut the door so no one sees your computer. Those things could benefit from one of these probably monthly, because what happens is you don't have enough breathing room. Your computer can't breathe. It doesn't have the proper airflow that it needs in order to keep everything running nice and smooth. And when you get dust bunnies and dirt and pollen and pet dander and dust and hair follicles, all that stuff gets sucked in, but it can't get sucked out. And so you'll go through one of these often if you're doing it yourself. At $10 a pop, that gets expensive. I literally, no lie, and Eric and Nico will probably tell you the same thing. I probably could be driving a Tesla if I had every dollar I spent on a can of compressed air and put it in my pocket. I could be driving a Tesla right now, right? So, excuse me. So I wanted to show you about this new thing, and I bought it on Amazon, and I thought, well, you know what? I'll spend a few bucks on it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, okay, I'll make a bad review about it, and someone will watch it. But $10 a can, right? And these cans, if you got a really bad dust bunny collection inside, by the way, don't use those grainy discs. Don't ever. Or at least take it out every month or two and spray it out with compressed air. But I found a better solution. I bought one of these. This thing's a game changer, okay? It is a rechargeable, portable, long-lasting, high-powered electric air duster. And I'm telling you what, this thing is crazy. Look at this. Hang on. I'll show you. Give you an idea of the power this thing has, right? Here's just a little flimsy piece of plastic, right? Hang on. Look at it. Even from this far away, look at the power this has. Okay? This thing blows dust bunnies out like crazy. Okay? I love this thing. This is my new favorite toy. And it's got a detachable part, so if you need to get to something that this is in the way, you can just remove that and store it like that, right? Or, and I found another use for it, which totally justified the cost. I can use this in my car, in the vents and all the places that dust collects. I can literally get in there with this thing and just boom, right? This thing was like 45 or 50 bucks on Amazon. I've got the link below if you want to check it out. But I'm gonna tell you what, this thing is a game changer. And ironically, a week before I bought like a 4 or 5 pack of these things, and this thing right here is the last compressed air I will ever use. I love it. It's got a USB connection that plugs. Where is it? Right here. It plugs. Yeah, right here in the back. It's got a little USB connection. Plugs into my portable USB hub. Sits on my desk and charges. When it's full charged, it's ready to rock. And I haven't charged this thing in probably a month and used it at least a dozen times. And instantly, it's like bam. Okay, telling you what, if you have a dust bunny machine, you definitely want to check it out. Yeah, Pike says, "Yep, you know exactly what that is, don't you, buddy?" So, so the last thing I want to talk about, and this is sometimes a little daunting for people, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. If you want the most immediate kick in the pants performance increase, the easiest way to do that is to add RAM to your computer. Okay. Now, a lot of people freak out when they hear, oh no, I got to add stuff to my computer. I don't know how to do all that, this, that, and the other, right? Well, it's not as scary as you may think. Okay. Now, I made a video about this exact thing, showing you several things. First, I wanted to show you how you can figure out how much memory you have, how much you might need. Okay. You can go to Corsair's website, and Corsair will literally walk you through it does it has an auto check thing where it looks and checks your model, tells you exactly how much memory you have, because you can have multiple slots. So like, say your machine can hold 8 GB of memory, and you think, well, cool, I'll just add another 8 GB memory stick. It's got 2 slots. Well, it may have come with 2 4 gig memory sticks. So it's going to tell you that before you even take the thing apart. Now, of course, once you have the computer apart, you can then very easily, and memory is one of the simplest things to do, but you can very easily replace that memory. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, and anybody in the industry will tell you, if you want, anytime you put hardware in your computer, you're going to see the biggest performance increase. All these things I showed you are great, but, okay, the biggest thing that the biggest difference you will see is simply put, adding memory. And a lot of times what will happen is you'll get these computers that are, you'll have picked them up somewhere cheap for, say $250, $300. They're actually really good machines, but they didn't come with a lot of memory or a lot of hard drive space. Okay. And you may not even realize that you can kick this thing in the pants with just a little bit of effort. Okay. So I want to show you real quick. There's a website on a website. There's a video I made here. Let me show you where it is here. Where you can literally and I walk you through it step by step. So you go through here, you literally click on it, and it'll walk you through, and it'll show right here, PC speed up, adding RAM, right here on the right here. Okay, it's about a 6-minute video. Go check it out. It is literally, it walks you through Corsair. It shows you all that stuff, and then okay, I've got 1 free memory slot, so I can order this, or I can get rid of both of my memory sticks and upgrade both sticks and really take the machine to the higher level, because it also tells you the maximum amount of memory in your computer. So if you have, say you have a laptop that can hold 16 GB of RAM, and right now you have 8 GB in there, but you have 2 4-gig sticks, it'll tell you both slots are full. But then you could go pull those 2 4 gigs, put 2 8 gigs in there, max out the performance of your computer. And you think your computer is slow now, as soon as you put that memory in there, I mean, instant from the second you boot it up. It is amazing. That is, now granted, it costs money, of course, but the advantage to that is that it's very simple to do, and anybody can do it, and it's relatively cheap. Yeah, see, Eric says RAM plus an SSD, brand new computer. No lie. SSD replaces the old, the old spindle drives like these, the old physical drives. You replace them with an SSD, which has no moving parts, right? No moving parts means faster, way faster. So if you do that, add some more memory, potentially add hard drive in there, bam, you literally spend a little bit of money, but you don't have to go buy a new computer. So at the end of the day, you did it all yourself. You didn't have to pay somebody to do it. You followed my steps to get your software and your Windows cleaned up and tight. You added some memory, added hard drive, maybe, and next thing you know, you've got a brand spanking new computer. So that's the reason I made this video today. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I tried not to keep you too terribly long. I'm going to try to do a live stream every Sunday at 2 p.m. Central. That works well for me, but I kind of want to see like my viewers, like when that's the best time for them. So for now, it's going to be every Sunday at 2 o'clock. If you have suggestions that you'd like me to talk about in future videos, let me know in the comments. Check them out. If you have any questions about any of the software or the links, the hardware links or anything like that I included for you, or anything we talked about today, absolutely let me know that as well, because I answer all my comments. I definitely enjoy you guys being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Sunday at 2 o'clock Central. Thanks so much for watching.